Designated Survivor Season 1, Episode 2, the first day, and I was looking forward to this episode. I really did enjoy last week's premiere. I thought it was definitely a very good setup for what's to come, but it also, I think, gave us some stuff that I was a little bit worried about. And I have to say, this episode was a bit slower, obviously, than last week's episode, because last week's episode was, like, full guns blazing. There was, like, action going on every 20 minutes. I mean, it was a crazy start, and obviously, this episode did slow things down, and I don't think this episode was nearly as good as the premiere. It did get rid of some of the things I'm happy about. Like, first of all, thank God that Leo was not in this episode, because I'm really not looking forward to when that plot is going to come back into play. But either way, I did enjoy this episode overall. It was a bit annoying at times, just some of the stuff that went on, but let's just get into the episode, because I do want to talk about it. There's not as much to talk about in this episode, and I don't expect this to be that long of a review because I don't have a ton to say about it, but let's just get right into it. So we start off and we see the FBI are heightening security in every location following the discovery of the bombs in the rubble in last week's episode, and President Kirkman, I guess that's what we're calling him. We're not calling him Tom. Now that he's the president, we're calling him President Kirkman. He's making his first address to the nation. News reports call Kirkman's speech ineffective in the wake of the attacks. They just feel like he doesn't really have much to say, and that's true, because again, he was a designated survivor. He didn't witness the attack, he didn't really see it happen. All he knows is that there were blackouts, and that he seemed to be the sole survivor, and he doesn't really know how to move on from there. And I think a lot of really good stuff in this episode has to do with Kirkman's psyche. Just seeing the uncertainty of him being the president, he still does not feel like the president, and that's completely understandable. I mean, again, he's been appointed to be the president, and he feels very much out of place here. So he watched the coverage before making his way to the West Wing. By the way, no one talked about this, but I'm going to. I heard people actually say this. Him taking off his glasses, how the fuck can he see? I mean, he wears his glasses everywhere he goes, so how can he see when he doesn't wear them? How he's able to see his teleprompter is beyond me. I honestly have no idea, and I wish that maybe they would have actually added something there. It could have actually been this really cool flaw to his character, but no, they didn't really touch upon it. It was kind of strange, because again, he wears those glasses everywhere. It doesn't appear that he just wears them for, like, far distance or something. He wears them all the time. So, I don't know why he didn't wear the glasses, I don't know why he was able to, how he was able to see, but anyway, that's just a small little nitpick. But it actually isn't. I mean, it is a big deal, and I think they could have maybe add something there. But he watched the coverage before making his way to the West Wing as everyone stares at him as he passes by, because, again, they just don't feel like he's ready to run this. And he has a briefing in the Oval Office. Planes and trains are on lockdown. They're looking at groups that have the ability to bring explosives in the Capitol, which that makes sense, obviously, why they put him on lockdown, because any plane or train is suspicious right now. And chaos breaks out as everyone disagrees on a strategy. Kirkman leaves the room unnoticed. Really, he can't do anything. I mean, everyone really is just going back and forth, and I like that Kirkman isn't really in control of this situation right now, and that's completely understandable. I mean, he, again, really doesn't know exactly what happened, and a large desk, he sees this Paya card, this play card with his title on the chair and one for the president. He chuckles at the irony of the situation, just realizing that he's the president, and he commands his assistants, Emily and basically Emily and I believe the other one's name, I can't think of his name right now, but he wants them to help him put together a cabinet and to keep him up to speed on what is happening out there, because things are just too chaotic, and he wants things to be a lot more organized, because things don't seem to be. They seem to be very scattered right now, and that's understandable after the attack and everything, but he needs things to be more organized. He can't just have all this chaos going on. He needs more, clarity, and, well, not clarity, that's not the word. He just needs more organization. He needs to be like, things are in order, and that this is supposed to happen, because, again, he knows that obviously this one's supposed to happen, and, basically, he basically tells them to keep him up to speed on whatever is happening there. Now, Emily's a character that I really don't think they know much of what to do with. I mean, most of this episode is her talking about, is he really right for the president? What's his life going to be without me? I like seeing her in this episode. I just don't really see where a character goes from here. Talia Ritchie is such a good actress. I just don't really know where they're going with her character, I have to say. So Kirkman's speechwriter Seth, he's making his way down the street with a backpack. The police then stop him on foot and question him about what is in his bag. He shows ID and they let him go. And I thought that definitely made sense. I mean, especially when you have someone like Kirkman, Seth, who is in fact Muslim, they are going to question him because of the fact that he has stuff in his backpack and Muslim terrorists, things like that. And I thought that was honestly kind of an effective scene, the way that was done. It's more of those really subtle scenes because the show in general is not all that subtle, if you guys haven't noticed. It's not really a subtle show, but a scene like that I thought was very well done. I really enjoyed that. So Kirkman meets with Seth, and the president wants to apologize to him for writing a speech he delivered ineffectively, because he feels like, nothing really happened with it, that no one really cared about his speech. And news reports interrupt them with stories of police looking down on Muslim neighborhoods, and Kirkman finds out that the governor has actually handled those orders, and he isn't backing down from the president, who actually disagrees with his approach. And the governor's character, I'm really starting to get annoyed by, I have to say. He seems very cartoony. He seems very much, mustache twirling, and I really don't like his character. He seems like he's just there to do whatever he can to get Kirkman out of office, and I just am not really looking forward to his character. He's the one character that seems very over the top. He honestly seems like he's on a different show, because no one in that show is giving that level of cheese, and he is, and I just don't really know if it really fits into the rest of this show. Now, obviously, I get it. I understand why they have this character. Just to me, I don't really feel like he fits. But anyway, Kirkman has 175 personal phone calls, and a congresswoman who he discovers is also, we find out, a designated survivor. So he's not the only one, apparently. And Kirkman then sits with her. Now, this woman is actually the woman that played the mother in that really weird show on CBS, American Gothic, that I watched for like one episode. She's in here, and I thought she was pretty good in this episode. He sits with her, sharing his doubt in his leadership. She's determined to get through this, just like they did when 9/11 happened, because if they can get through that, they can get through this. And she's very much right. I mean, if they can get through 9/11, this should be, really easy. And she wants him to make it to his house and lead the way as he sees fit, because she knows that he can do this. And I like that she's there to give him confidence. She's not there to compete with him. She's actually there to give him genuine confidence, and I really did like that. So Kirkman's assistants hunt for cabinet members, arguing the whole time, and they don't really know who to appoint because everyone's just really going back and forth, and it's just complete chaos, and I thought that part was very well done. But Kirkman and Alex then talk about the governor's lack of respect. They are interrupted with word that it was Al-Sakar who blew up the Capitol. His men are 75% confident that it was Al-Sakar, and law enforcement is informed that they need to reach out to their sources now. They think that it is Al-Sakar, and Wells gets pulled in by the deputy director, reports that she doesn't think that it's Al-Sakar. She knows there's definitely a larger party at hand here, because Al-Sakar, it seems too devastating and just too chaotic for it to be one man behind this entire thing. Now, I don't know what Al-Sakar is, if that was this terrorist or exactly what he was, but you can tell there's definitely more than just Al-Sakar. There definitely was more people to it. She thinks that someone is setting them up and that they're not done yet, and I really do like where they're headed with Wells' character. I like where I like that she, she's very level-headed. She's one of the only people that's not completely, losing her shit over this, and she actually seems like she's able to keep her head above water, and especially when we know she's faced a personal tragedy, possibly where she's lost someone. I'm really looking forward to seeing where her character's headed, because I really think Maggie Q is doing a great job, and she's definitely one of the highlights of the show. I really am loving what they're doing with her. So Kirkman and Alex are ready to go to the Capitol with Kevlar vests on. I did like the scene with him and his daughter. I thought that was kind of cute, and I like seeing Penny and not Leo, because it just doesn't really work with Leo. You don't need Leo there, and this episode proves you don't need Leo there. I don't even think they mention Leo in this episode, and that's fine, because they don't need his character. He is by far the worst thing about the show, and I'm glad he wasn't in this episode. At least last week's episode hinted that he's going to be. I don't know, maybe it's going to be better, but I don't really think so. Alex is breaking down. She's obviously very nervous as to what's going on. She's still getting used to this whole, madam thing, and being called madam. She wants to be called Alex, but they call her madam, and Kirkman then asked the Secret Service agent what his code name was when he was caught in HUD. They tell him to take off his glasses again and again. I have no idea how he can see, but whatever. They arrive to see all the rumble, the cleanup crew, and the cameras, as it is a surreal sight. Kirkman then talks to the deputy director, and he takes the vest off. He wants to protect confidence and do whatever he can to make it seem like he is confident, which we know he's not, but he did actually, I think, a pretty good job of making it seem like that he was actually somewhat confident. They actually did somewhat know what he was doing. So I did really like this scene, where he takes the vest off and we see Penny's watching her dad on the TV at the Capitol. Kirkman takes a megaphone. He thanks the men and women who are cleaning up the rubble because obviously it's a lot of cleanup. I mean, there's a lot of damage that happened, and he observes their dedication. Meanwhile, the crowd takes notice of their phones, alerted by breaking reports of a Muslim teen beaten by police in Michigan. Crazy scene, but again, it makes sense. I mean, when you have that devastating of a terrorist attack and people are comparing it to 9/11 on the show, obviously there's going to be a lot of Muslims profile because Muslims, we know, were behind. Now, I'm not trying to be racist here, but I mean, it's no secret that Muslims were pretty much the entire majority, almost, the mass majority of the terrorists in the 9/11 plane crash. So it kind of makes sense to profile some of the Muslims, and some of the crowd grows angry. A scuffle breaks out. Kirkman's rushed off. I mean, it's really, things are just not good there. It's just not really safe knowing that these Muslims are being beaten, and especially that it's teens. I mean, obviously people are getting very angry at this because they're targeting who they feel are innocent citizens, and yeah, they kind of are. I mean, they have really no facts that these actually are the people that were involved, and I don't really know what's going to happen there, but I think that was very interesting overall, and again, I think a very well, realistically portrayed scene that I thought was very well handled. So the dad's upset that Agent Wells has given him all the facts, and he basically tells her he will tell Kirkman about her theory if she can prove it. This right now is getting very repetitive for me. Like I said, Wells is a very good character. They're just not really going anywhere with this except, oh, I think something happened, and no, you need to believe me, and I really am hoping that this actually does go somewhere, because right now it's just very, very repetitive, and every scene with Wells felt very much the same. Like, every scene was her saying, oh, no, I think there's something more larger here. Like, it's kind of going to get annoying if that's what this is going to be. I like Wells' character, but if it's just going to be her outnumbered all season, I don't really like that. So Kirkman wants to know what he can do to make the governor stand down. Every order he can put into effect will how he appears to the public, and he knows that the governor is basically the sole target against him right now. He's the one that's trying to run him out of office, and Alex is angry at Leo for leaving Penny alone to see her father on TV. We do get one mention of Leo, but obviously she's very angry at him for leaving her alone. But again, I think that was fine. There wasn't any talk of him in the drugs and anything, so I'm fine with that. But again, Leo was supposed to be watching Penny, and Alex getting mad. I do like seeing that. But Alex in general is kind of what I was hoping she wouldn't be right now. She's kind of just the wife of Kirkman, and she's not really doing much else besides that, and I want her to do something a little bit more effective than just be by Kirkman's side of all times, because I do like seeing her, giving pep talks, things like that, but I just want to see her do a little bit more. So the General and Aaron are still in cahoots, discussing how they can get rid of Kirkman. Alex tries to help her husband find a solution to the Michigan problem. And I did like that scene where she's giving him this pep talk and trying to help him, with the Michigan problem and everything, and saying that he knows what he can do. But a call then comes in. We found out a boy from Michigan actually just died, and Kirkman meets with Royce via Skype, commanding him to stand down, and Kirkman tells him that he picked up the 3 classified operatives, and if he doesn't stand down, he will be obstructing a federal case, and Kirkman tells his team that it was all a bluff after Royce agrees to stand down, and Kirkman pulls Seth aside, asks him about his morning. So it seems that Royce has agreed to stand down, but as we know, Royce is after, Kirkman right now, so Kirkman talks to him about his doubts about Sakaar. He knows that there's definitely more going on. He offers Seth a ride home with the Secret Service, and he declines. And I think that it's because even though Seth is, Kirkman's right-hand man currently right now, he feels like he's just another Muslim, and he knows all this Muslim, stuff is going on. All those people are torturing Muslims. He feels that he's just another one. I think he feels that he's definitely a target, and I hope they really do go somewhere with that, because that could end up becoming a very satisfyingly emotional storyline. I hope they Kirkman makes the calls of know that the boy died. I mean, it's just very sad to see, but I think Kirkman handled himself pretty well. He was able to give them the information while getting emotional, but not cracking. I thought he did actually a pretty good job of that, especially for someone who's a new president. He did a pretty good job doing that, but Kirkman then returns to the Capitol to shake hands in the dark of the night, thanking everyone for their service. Really well done scene. And then we see at the end of the episode, in the makeshift FBI tent, we see who Agent Wells wants to see in the form of a picture on the missing persons board, and she's alerted to news that there is a survivor in the rubble. I'm assuming it's the person that she thought was gone, and that is how the episode ends overall. But let's talk about this episode and where I think the show is really headed. So like I said, for me, this was a bit more of a slower episode. I wasn't as into it as I was with the first one, but I do like where the show is headed overall. I like seeing Kirkman trying to prove himself to the public, and I feel like eventually he will prove himself. I mean, the governor's going to be the thing that's going to hold him back, but I'm hoping, and Aaron as well, but I'm hoping that he'll be able to prove himself without having to talk to Aaron and people like that. I do like the way that that's going overall. Wells, though, I definitely think that the person she thinks is dead is definitely alive, and I'm looking forward to seeing how that reunion's going to be, because I feel like that's really going to give her a lot of confidence. I mean, again, she's able to know she's going to play that much of a role on this show, because it's the show just got picked up for a full season. That very much scares me. I don't see this a show that could last 22 episodes. I see this being a 13 episode model, and if they just gave the show 22 episodes, I really do feel the show is going to get very stale very fast. I could definitely see it happening. But either way, guys, most of you guys saw this episode. Love your thoughts on it, and we'll see you guys in my next video, which will be for the series premiere of Luke Cage, which, guys, I am so hyped for, obviously. I know you guys are too, and I will see you guys for that. Okay, bye.